What is cyberpunk? You probably hear this term all over the place, especially in the last few years. But let's set the record straight. In this video, I'm going to examine the subgenre of cyberpunk, its origins, influences, and why its popularity is only going to grow. In its simplest form, cyberpunk is a subgenre of science fiction. Its core ingredients are advanced technology and a gritty, dystopian urban landscape. It commonly features unscrupulous and powerful megacorporations who exert their influence on society, and rugged, streetwise anti-heroes who defy them. It addresses powerful themes of corruption, unethical treatment of humans, and social turmoil. But cyberpunk is not just a genre, it is also a subculture. Many people have adapted its look and principles as a part of their personal aesthetic. Cyberpunk has had a far-reaching impact upon our society, and for good reason. The term cyberpunk was first used in a short story by Bruce Bethke, but the meat of the genre was established in novels by Pat Cadigan, Rudy Rucker, John Shirley, Louis Shiner, Bruce Sterling, and William Gibson, who is widely considered to be the grandfather of the movement. But a lot of the themes can be traced back even further. In the 1950s, authors were writing with strong dystopian themes and imagery, and in 1968, Philip K. Dick wrote Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, the novel which became the inspiration for Ridley Scott's Blade Runner. Visually, cyberpunk borrows heavily from film noir. It is dark, dirty, and frequently raining. The preeminent book, which most people identify as the cement of the movement, is Neuromancer, the 1984 novel by William Gibson. It solidified the genre, drawing inspiration from hacker culture. While it was originally a literary genre, cyberpunk really took form in people's minds after the release of Blade Runner in 1982. This epic film brought a visual element to the genre that allowed so many people to relate to it. It became the influence for the look and feel of so many other cyberpunk films and TV shows to follow. Japanese cyberpunk took form in 1982 also through the manga TV series Akira. From there, it grew and germinated works such as Ghost in the Shell and Battle Angel Alita. Its popularity took off in the 1980s, and we saw a large number of films and other creative works which developed the genre. RoboCop, Burst City, Tron, The Terminator, and The Running Man were some of the big releases. While the 80s saw the introduction of cyberpunk as a film genre, it was the 1990s where it really took off, with films like Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Total Recall, Hackers, 12 Monkeys, The Lawnmower Man, Demolition Man, Johnny Mnemonic, Judge Dredd, Strange Days, Gattaca, The Fifth Element, and Existence. The 90s culminated with one of the greatest cyberpunk films of all time, The Matrix. In the 2000s, the genre continued with films like AI, Minority Report, Cypher, Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, iRobot, Ghost in the Shell 2.0, Surrogates, Tron Legacy, Repo Man, Transcendence, Elysium, District 9, and Chappie. Cyberpunk has also had a strong showing in video games and role-playing games. Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear, Deus Ex, Syndicate, System Shock, along with all of the video games based directly on movies like Blade Runner, The Matrix, and Ghost in the Shell. The genre is also a major influence on music and art. A quick visit to Pinterest or DeviantArt will reveal a plethora of work. You can check out my cyberpunk artwork at jasonbrockett.com. Heaps of music has been influenced by cyberpunk, from bands who are defined by the term such as Sigue Sigue Sputnik, Frontline Assembly, and Psydol, through to heaps of conceptual music from artists like David Bowie, Billy Idol, and Nine Inch Nails. Cyberpunk still has a huge influence on music, especially in the realms of techno and drum and bass. Some of my own music has a strong cyberpunk influence. You can check it out once more at jasonbrockett.com or on SoundCloud, and I'll put those links below. One of the key factors of cyberpunk is its philosophy. The optimistic among us tend to think that as technology grows, it's going to be good for everybody. However, as we've seen, that isn't necessarily the case. New technology is first designed to benefit those who make it. AI is a fantastic example of this. There are so many companies racing to be the first to develop artificial intelligence that no one is stopping to ask the question, should we create artificial intelligence? Cyberpunk is a brutalist examination of the realities of technology. Rather than forming a unity in society, technology can create division. Limited access to technology only produces a greater disparity between the rich and poor. Those without means are not able to benefit from technology. Rather than seeing technology as savior, Cyberpunk engages head-on with the negative impact of technology on humanity. One of William Gibson's most famous quotes is, "The street finds its own use for things." This refers to an adaptation of technology by the poor. The technological refuse of society is repurposed in a way that its original designers would never have imagined. This is kind of a reality if you think about it. Take cell phones for example. We make millions of them, and most of them don't last more than a few years. They just become part of a big technological junk pile. Cyberpunk embraces the idea that this kind of technology is repurposed by those whose homes are the junk heaps upon which it is thrown. Think of using shipping containers as houses, repurposing an engine motor to run a windmill, that kind of thing. Cyberpunk is dirty. So many depictions of the future are crystal clean and perfect, but Cyberpunk forgoes this vision for a grimier, more lived-in world. As William Gibson once said, "I wanted to see dirt in the corners." Crime and drugs are ever-present themes in the genre. Gangs and criminal syndicates are common entities in the writings and films. What does it mean to be human? This is a frequently asked question in cyberpunk literature and film. The lines of humanity are blurred. Are AIs human? If so, when do they become it? Is it when they have something replicating emotions? Are artificial humans still human? When man and machine are fused, at what point did they start or stop being human? These questions about our identity and our ingrained humanness are at the heart of cyberpunk. Who should govern us? When corporations gain such enormous power that they're able to influence governments, what happens? This is another key theme of the genre. George Orwell's 1984 is the grandfather of stories which questions the overbearing power of government. Government at any extreme whether it be right-wing fascists or left-wing socialists, is a danger to society. Cyberpunk presents us with a picture of what it looks like to live under such dictatorial regimes. Composition. The genre is epitomized by the term high-tech, low-life. This refers to a dark dystopian future. Just because technology advances, it doesn't mean that humans do. In fact, the vast fissure which technology places between the rich and poor only serves to drive many people back to the basest of motivations. Cyberpunk is full of anti-heroes. It is the trashiest, dirtiest world possible, and the heroes reflect that. I think that this is one of the reasons for its widespread popularity. It doesn't feature perfect people. Dystopian anti-heroes are a lot more like real humans. They do what they need to do to survive in the modern world. It often features stories in which human beings are the lab rats of powerful and nefarious corporations or governments. People are robbed of their humanity. Think about Alex Murphy in RoboCop. They are implanted with technology against their will. Think Major Motoko Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell. They're experimented on, like Tetsuo from Akira or Alice from Resident Evil. Cyberpunk is thick with the themes of human modification, robots, artificial intelligences, cyberspace and hacking, and the creation of artificial human beings. The cities are suffocating and oppressive, with pollution, overpopulation, and filth. The individual is lost in their neon glow, just a speck on the face of society. The streets are dirty, rainy, and full of junk, while corporate spaces are clinically clean, cold, and devoid of human emotion. Why is it so popular? Cyberpunk is buried in a cynical pessimism which frequently befits our own time. It's socially and culturally aware. Its citizens carry a distrust of government and those in authority. These are some of the key reasons for its popularity. We see the same themes of corrupt governments, corporations with too much power, and unrestrained technology in our own lives. Cyberpunk is the reality of our future, and many would say the core of our present. We are living in a pre-cyberpunk world. Cyberpunk is cool. The people are cool, the technology is cool. It is simultaneously the future that we want and the future that we fear. The original creators of Cyberpunk are modern-day prophets. We can see the world that they envisioned unfolding before our very eyes. In the 1980s, these things were only projections of the imagination. But today, we have a world under threat, on the brink of environmental disaster. We have corporations developing technology without restraint, which will have massive social impact. We have prosthetics which can be powered with your mind. We have a population which lives almost their entire life online, globally connected, but distanced from humanity. We have virtual reality and robots, almost everything that Gibson and his peers imagined. The negative impact of technology on humanity is one of the most obvious realities that we have to deal with today. Many people are basically cyborgs. They carry their phones around day and night and never switch them off. They're never more than a couple of meters away from their technology. Most of these people would have their phones bonded into their arms if they could. That's a cyborg. But we see the negative impact of this technology in our lives. Yes, We may be connected to information in a way that we never were before, but it has disconnected us from our humanness. This technology disrupts our sleep, increases our anxiety, and creates previously unforeseen problems. Cyberpunk is popular because cyberpunk is our reality. We haven't yet seen it fully realized, but it is on the way. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got any comments, please feel free to just put them in the box below. Remember to like and subscribe to this channel and ring the bell to get updates about when new videos get released. And you can visit my website jasonbrockett.com, where you can find my cyberpunk artwork, my cyberpunk influenced music, and also my cyberpunk role-playing game that I spent over 15 years working on. You can find all sorts of information about it at my website. Thanks once again. I'll see you next time.